Hey, happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are talking about lake effect snow that does not seem to let up. We are still seeing up to an additional 20 inches of snow to pile on out to the northeast, coming in from the Great Lakes today. And I'm even talking about in this forecast, what is lake effect snow? I think that's a big question that a lot of people have been asking as we've seen this process just over the past few days repeat itself. So we'll talk about that. Rain retreats back into Texas from Louisiana for now. We will see rain move back up to our Gulf states over the next few days, and that will lead to some flooding. So flooding into the Gulf states for the weekend. We'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But hey, Cyber Monday. Oh wait, it's Thursday. We still have our Cyber Monday deal now extended through the end of the day Friday. That's it. We're not extending it past that. So if you want to take advantage of the best deal of the year, 15% off new annual plans, you need to call today, okay? Call 855-334-4245, or that spells out HAIL, or click the link in the bio from the platform that you are watching this forecast on. You only have 2 more days, okay? This is the best deal of the year. Prepare for storm season now by getting in on that deal. All right, let's take a look at your storm reports from yesterday. Nothing terribly impressive out there in terms of severe weather. We, of course, saw that very impressive snowfall out to the north and east, maybe even a minor wind gust out in Michigan. And then, of course, that rain farther down to the south into eastern Texas and Louisiana. Here's your rainfall totals from yesterday. At times, seeing some impressive rainfall totals, excuse me, a little hiccup there, a little bit more impressive than what we've seen over the past few days. Okay, we're talking 3, 4, maybe even up to 4.5 inches in some of these areas. But if you look farther up to the north, there's all of that snow. At times, we are seeing double-digit inches in snow. Okay, that's impressive for a lot of people, but for the Northeast, that's not terribly impressive. Okay, that's not terribly impressive for one day, but what about day after day after day after day of snow? Okay, you're getting several feet of snow at this point, and that is very, very, very impressive. And it's very, very localized. You can see some of these areas in here getting up to a foot plus of snow, and then you go a few miles to the north, and they're getting maybe just a dusting. Okay, I thought this was cool. Over Missouri, they got some snow this past week, and you can see with a little bit of sunshine yesterday, a lot of that snow started to melt off. So what you see right here is that snow starting to slowly melt away as the sun comes out and the clouds part yesterday. I love to see these satellite videos because it just really shows how powerful the sun can be, even if the temperatures are cold. And it was still cold yesterday in Missouri. It's still pretty chilly right now. You can see that those temperatures below average through the center portion of the U.S. and out to the east. Missouri, of course, right in the middle of that, really experiencing up to 15 degrees below average for today. Even Oklahoma below average this afternoon, but you head farther out to the west and those temperatures are above average today. Pretty dry, quiet out to the west for now. That is going to change. We're really focusing on the southern, southeastern portion of the U.S. and northeastern portion of the U.S. Let's start up to the north, then we'll move our way down to the south. There's all of that snow that we're seeing today coming off of the Great Lakes, bringing all of that moisture with these bands of snow and then dropping all of that moisture back onto the land. That is what we call lake effect snow, which we'll talk about a little bit more here in just a minute. But we do have several alerts for this lake effect snow, for these high winds in effect for today. So here are your alerts. Lake effect snow warning highlighted there in teal. We also have a blizzard warning. Winter weather advisory highlighted in purple goes through Friday. A lot of this will start to wrap up tomorrow morning. If not tomorrow morning, then tomorrow afternoon. We have a winter storm warning highlighted in pink for the western side of Michigan, and then a wind advisory drapes across the east coast here. Now that lake effect snow warning highlighted there in teal, and then a blizzard warning Highlighted in red is for those bands of snow that I just talked about that are coming off of the lake here. And I think I have a graphic, maybe not now, maybe it's my next graphic. Okay, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Let's get to your temperatures first. 20 degrees up in Minneapolis, 21 in Kansas City. Yes, we had snow melting yesterday in this area, and now they are back below freezing. 25 in Charleston. We've got the 30s up to the north and east, and 25 in Fort Wayne. You come down just a little bit farther to the south, and you see those temperatures into the 30s, 40s, 50s. And who's the warmest on the map today? Yesterday it was Houston. Today, Miami at 75. They have experienced some very chilly temperatures down in Florida, about 10 to 15 degrees below average for this time of the year. Today, a little bit closer to normal. 75 is a little bit more normal for places like Miami. Still a little on the chilly side for those folks. Okay, now let's take a look at your future radar. That lake effect snow that I was talking about will continue for today, starting to wrap up later on this evening, but really starting to dry out tomorrow morning. Again, if not tomorrow morning, will be dry by tomorrow evening. You can start to see some of those bands of snow start to weaken, thin out a little bit. Okay, but what is lake effect snow? Lake effect snow happens whenever you have warm water. And actually, I read a study that we could have more enhanced lake effect snow this year because it stayed so much warmer later on in the season. Now, we've got warm water, but we've got very cold land. That land is going to cool down very, very quickly this time of the year whenever we have these polar air masses move through the northern portion of the U.S. Now what happens is we have that cold air move over the warm water, cooling down the land, and what it's doing is it's picking up all of this moisture with it. And as I mentioned earlier, it's dumping all of that moisture in the form of snow back on the land. And that is why we can see areas that have 20, 30 inches of snow. You go a little bit farther to the south, maybe just a coating of snow, maybe just a half inch of snow, maybe nothing. If you go a little bit farther to the south, a little bit farther to the north, not a ton of snow, but we just have one band that's just dropping several feet of snow. That is very common this time of the year. That's what we're seeing, right? So we're going to see isolated double-digit snowfall accumulation in this area. Others are just going to get a trace of snow over the next 24 hours, starting to wrap up by the weekend, but then our attention turns to the west by Saturday. By Saturday, we see more snow moving into the northwestern portion of the U.S., mainly in the upper elevations, but some of this could get a little bit farther down to the surface than what we've seen. And then as we head into the later portion of the weekend and even into early next week, we're going to see this continue to dip to the south and even bring snow to places like Denver and central southern Colorado. Now this is your probability to get 3+ inches of snow, so a decent snowfall. If you go a little bit farther to the east, you could get maybe an inch, maybe in Kansas. Some models want to bring this down to the panhandle of Oklahoma and the western side of Kansas. Some models want to keep this snow out in Colorado. So we're still several days away from this. We will get more information over the next few days. Alrighty, moving on here, let's talk about the rain now, bringing you down to Texas, Louisiana, and the rest of our Gulf states, which are in a flood risk for this weekend. For today, we've got 2 areas that we are watching for thunder and lightning, not watching for those severe risks, non-severe storms possible. I think yesterday we saw the potential for pea-sized hail in southern Louisiana. Not terribly impressive, but hey, it's hail nonetheless. Okay, that first area is going to be in the panhandle of Florida. We could see some strikes of lightning, rumbles of thunder. That second area will be out into the western side of Texas. Very, very similar here. As we move into Friday, more of that moisture will shift to the east, including Houston and Louisiana with that moisture later on this week in here. We're still on Thursday. Let's get to Friday. There you go on Friday, where we see some of those showers and storms shift just to the east, just barely. As we get into Saturday, now Saturday is whenever we see a better chance for rain in DFW, kind of stretching into the northern portion of Texas at this point, and maybe even some showers into Oklahoma through the overnight hours Friday and into the rest of Saturday. Look at that. Saturday morning, you could be waking up with some spotty showers across Oklahoma and Texas. Again, the severe risk with this is going to be very low. What are your hazards here? That risk of tornadoes, extremely low. High winds, very low. Large hail, extremely low. What is the risk then? Flooding. That's going to be the risk, and I'll show you exactly where. It'll mainly be through Texas, Louisiana, and then some of our Gulf states here. You're going to see better chances for higher rainfall totals farther into Louisiana, and then the following day out to places like Mississippi and Alabama. So here's your risk on Sunday for Louisiana. One more day, Monday. There you go, into Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. It's a level 2 risk, which means, you know, that spot in your neighborhood that always tends to flood. There's always standing water in that area. That's the area you need to be watching for on Sunday and Monday. Those intersections on or off ramps that always seem to have standing water, those are the areas that you need to keep an eye on. We call this localized flooding, not widespread flooding. Okay, taking a look at those temperatures. Through the rest of the work week, we're going to see these temperatures go up and down as we have another polar air mass move into the states over the next 7 days. Okay, right now, where's the coldest area of the U.S.? Midwest, all the way up to the Northeast. Temperatures are getting down to the teens and single digits through the overnight hours. We barely hit freezing here in Oklahoma City, just below freezing up in Denver. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures topping out in the 40s and 50s for some of our southern states like Oklahoma and Colorado, but still barely warming up farther up to the north. Taking a look at Saturday, let's see, we've got some 50s with some of that cloud cover. We've got some rain down in Dallas, so temperatures are a little bit cooler down there. 57 in Denver, and then we start to warm up just barely into places like Minneapolis, getting out of the 30s into the 40s, still 36 in Detroit, still very cold in this area. By Sunday afternoon, temperatures down to Florida in the 60s and 70s, finally back to the 60s. Pretty nice for this time of the year here in Oklahoma City on Sunday. Okay, let's move on to your extended outlook. We're talking December 10th through the 14th, so next week into the second week of December at this point. We have a above average chance to be we have a decent chance for temperatures to be above average for this time of the year. So what does this mean? You see these maps all over social media. How can you read these maps? What this means is those areas in gray, Oklahoma City, highlighted in gray, has a good chance to be about normal this time of the year. What is our normal high? 53. We have a good chance to be above average in Denver and about normal, 40 degrees in Chicago. Very, very similarly for your extended rain outlook, we have a good chance for wet weather up to the north and west and out to the east, but the rest of the U.S. will most likely stay on the drier side. Hey, happening today, we've had a lot of fun getting pictures from the Roofing Process Conference. Justin is out there. He'll be there for the rest of the week until this conference ends. We have our booth all set up. He met a lot of people yesterday, talked to them at the booth. Why should you come to the Hail Trace booth at the Roofing Process Conference? We have a bottle of whiskey to give away. So it's a raffle prize. Go enter your name into the raffle. Again, this is the conference that's on Marco Island, Florida at the JW Marriott. Make sure that you run by the Hail Trace table, talk to Justin. He will also be doing those Cyber Monday deals, the 15% off new annual plans. And then, of course, they also have a whiskey giveaway. Lots of fun out there. Tell him hi. Tell him that you watched our forecast. All right, thanks for joining us today. We, of course, will be posting more updates on that Cyber Monday deal and on our forecast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also call us for any more information on a hail, wind, or tornado map at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. You can also get more information at our website, hailtrace.com. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place for your forecast.